Hey trainers, I've been thinking a lot about the Great League recently and honestly just kind of needed a break, so I went back to some footage that I had from the Master League. I built an Yveltal and a Machamp for the first time this past season, so I thought it would be fun to maybe share some of those battles with y'all, so I hope you enjoy. I will be using the same team except with Yveltal up front on one and Machamp up front on the other set. And I think I'm going to give you three of each set. But this team did pretty well. I climbed quite a bit with my elo in this particular instance, so I think it worked well and it was a lot of fun, and I hope that you enjoy maybe taking a quick break from the Great League in order to think about what you want to do for your Master League teams in the future. So with all of that aside, I guess we will hop right into the commentary. I picked up a negative lead with the Yveltal versus a big pig, Mamoswine. And so I switched into MewTwo. Now the Mamoswine is coming back. I am unfortunately out of shield, so that Avalanche is going to take me out. But I can come in with the Metagross and do quite a bit of damage with the Steel-type fast move there. We can one-shot the Dialga with Earthquake, and that made the opponent quit. So if they had Bulldoze, it probably would have been a good idea to just go for the Bulldoze instead of switching into the Dialga, because Dialga is very weak to Earthquake. All right, so again, picked up another negative lead. They switch into a Metagross of their own, and Mewtwo does pretty well against Metagross when it has Shadow Ball available. I will have to shield this because a Meteor Mash would take us out, but we can farm down with the Psycho Cuts and then have plenty of energy for this Togekiss when it comes back in. And Psystrike is going to do a lot of damage. So we do get the shield. We get both shields, which is amazing. And this time we can come in with Metagross, which can do super effective damage. I wanted to shield that up because if that were Flamethrower, then it would have done super effective damage to the Metagross, obviously. And then they switch into a Gyarados. So Gyarados is going to be difficult for much of this team, but they decided to go ahead and go for a Crunch instead of Aqua Tail. If they could have built up a couple of Aqua Tails, that probably would have worked out better for them. Crunch was resisted, so we did get to multiple Dark Pulses on the Yveltal, and that let us take the game. Moving into this next round, we have another negative lead, but fortunately this Tyranitar is using Crunch instead, or Bite instead of Smackdown. So, and we land the Focus Blast. So, yeah, that's nice. I guess they didn't know. They didn't know about the Focus Blast. They come in with a Lugia. That's pretty good for us, because if their best response to Yveltal is Lugia, then everything on this team is going to really struggle with Yveltal. Our Dark Pulse attacks are going to be super effective. We don't quite get to the next Dark Pulse, so I decided to go ahead and build up a little bit more energy, go for the Dark Pulse, see if they decide to shield, and they did. And because it takes less time to get to the second Dark Pulse than the first, we are able to take out the Lugia, and in the back they have a Garchomp. And because of Garchomp's recent boost, it's been pretty popular recently, saw a bunch of those in the Master League. I decided to come in with Gyarados, or with Metagross rather, so that Metagross could absorb the attack, and then Mewtwo would have time to farm up to a Psystrike, and that is enough to close out that game. So that worked out pretty nicely. I think this starts the set where I'm using my Machamp up front. Yeah, that's right. Again, a negative lead. Definitely don't want to be fighting a Mewtwo with Machamp, so I am counting up the fast moves, and then I switch into my own Mewtwo. I had to shield here because I didn't switch quite at the right time, and I gave them enough time to build up to a Shadow Ball. So I want them to think that I am only equipped with Psystrike and not with Shadow Ball. I go ahead and build all the way up to a Shadow Ball and then throw the Psystrike. This time I have the Shadow Ball ready to go, and yeah, I correctly called that because I figured that they would be mirroring what strategy I tried, and I was correct. So now I have all of their shields, and this is looking pretty good. I can shield up their next attack, and then build up to a Shadow Ball. Maybe overfarm just a little bit in case they switch out. They're not switch. Okay, so it was game lag, which is really, really bad for me because I needed that Shadow Ball to go through for the Mewtwo. So I'm going to build up a little bit more energy, and I guess I'm staying in on this. Don't know how I feel about that. But the Psystrike can take out the Kyogre. Yeah, Mewtwo comes back. This is looking pretty rough. If they throw Shadow Ball here, that's going to be really bad for us. Yeah, so that's most of this thing's health. And we're going to take another attack here, so that's going to take out the Metagross. But now we have a lot of energy on the Machamp. So actually, I think just a Cross Chop could probably take out the Mewtwo. The question is if we can get to it in time. So the Mewtwo is completely energy dry. I'm going to have to throw this Cross Chop to finish off the Dialga. And can we get to the next one? We do get to the Cross Chop. Will it be enough? Not quite. Oh, but we are able to counter down before they Psycho Cut down. So that's a nice thing about Psycho Cut, if you're on the receiving end, is that even though it's really great for energy generation, it doesn't do all that much damage, even if it's super effective. So fortunately, counter was going to work out for us that time. Okay, this time Machamp into a Garchomp. This is a fairly neutral lead. I'm going to go ahead and build up a little extra energy and then throw a Cross Chop. We want to just start chipping damage, and then I'm going to switch out into the Mewtwo. I was hoping to catch a move, but I didn't. That's okay. I go straight for a Psystrike here because we want to start pressuring shields as much as possible. We do get a shield. I'm going to go for another Psystrike, hoping to get damage this time. And we do get damage. So the Gyarados is very, very low. And I don't remember if I shield this or if I let it go. Yeah, I decided to let the Mewtwo go. Oh, but it was not a crunch. They decided to go with the smaller move, hoping that I would shield. So I am able to get to another Psystrike, and that will be taking out the Gyarados. That also lets me set the alignment against the Garchomp. Unfortunately, I do not have any Pokemon that are going to be just exceptionally well suited for the Garchomp, except for Mewtwo. But it's a good thing they went for Earth Power, because that meant that they had to throw pretty much all of their energy, and that allowed me to get to the Cross Chop, which was great. Okay, so I'm going to be farming up to Earthquake, and I lose the CMP tie. I'm going to have to shield this one up, but it's a Meteor Mash. I'm going to go ahead and go for Earthquake just in case they think that I'm baiting with Meteor Mash as well. They do not, so this is going to be pretty bad because I'm definitely going to lose CMP, but they decided to go for Meteor Mash. That is not going to be enough to take out my Metagross, so I can go for Earthquake, and this should finish off the opposing Metagross. Yeah, it takes it out, and now we can safely Bullet Punch down. So I hadn't really used Metagross very much in previous seasons either, to be honest, but Metagross was really strong in the meta for this past season. You can see that from the rewards there that I had a pretty good set with the Machamp team on that one. I have kind of tailored together videos from different sets that I played with these same teams. So I was trying to get some of the more interesting kind of close matches that I thought would be entertaining for y'all here. Okay, so that completes those sets, and we're going to dive into another Machamp setup here. Okay, Machamp into Kyogre. So Machamp can do okay against Kyogre with the fighting type attacks. The problem is that Kyogre has so much more health than Machamp that it's going to be a huge problem in terms of being able to farm me down and outlast me. So I needed to switch into the Mewtwo. They shielded, so I feel okay about shielding once here. If we can get a Psystrike through, that's going to come pretty close to taking out the Kyogre. I decided it's okay to let the Mewtwo go, but they don't KO, so I am able to get the next Psystrike through. And that doesn't quite KO the Kyogre, but one Psycho Cut will do it. And they come in with a Togekiss. This is pretty good for us because now we can line up our Metagross with the Togekiss. And even though they have a Groudon in the back, which is rough, this is a Fire Punch, so we can take that. I do have a lot of energy on Machamp, so as long as I save the shield for my Metagross, I should be able to defeat the Groudon, and then we can more or less just farm down on fast moves with the Togekiss. The only thing we've got to look out for is taking a Fire-type move here. So I'm going to try to farm down. I'm not quite able to do it, but I figure I've got a better chance against the Togekiss if I preserve a little health and go for 2 Meteor Mashes, because I'm pretty close. So we do get to the attack. There's one. They're going to shield this, and then we will go for the last one to try and KO. Meteor Mash number 2 coming through, and it does defeat the Togekiss. So those games were a lot of fun for me. I'm really glad that I built the Machamp, and even more glad that I built the Yveltal, and I hope that you all have enjoyed this kind of bonus throwback video to the Master League Classic.